But The Lion King wasn't just a carefree Disney cartoon. It was a battlefield of clashing egos, studio tension, and near-catastrophic setbacks that nearly stopped the film from roaring onto screens at all. Behind its lush animation and unforgettable songs lurked drama, brutal production fights, near-firings, dangerous creative gambles, and even global controversies. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 20 weird facts about The Lion King, 1994. You didn't know. From animators breaking down in tears to voice actors storming out, from accidental scandals to creative miracles, this isn't the story Disney told you. And wait until you hear the bonus fact, a secret so bizarre it could change how you see the film forever. Let's dive in. Number 20. The B-Team movie that outsold the A-Team. When The Lion King began development, Disney's top animators didn't even want it. The studio divided its staff between two films, Pocahontas and The Lion King. The prestige crew picked Pocahontas, calling it the more important adult film. That left The Lion King with what some insiders called the B-Team. Even Disney executives treated it like a side project. But in a twist no one predicted, The Lion King shattered box office records, becoming the highest-grossing animated movie of its time. Not Pocahontas, but Lion King ruled the savanna. What audiences didn't know was that the film they considered flawless was born out of Disney's leftovers. The supposed underdog became the alpha. Number 19. Elton John. Almost quit over Can You Feel the Love Tonight. It wasn't just production drama, music nearly collapsed too. Elton John, brought in to compose the soundtrack, was horrified when he saw early cuts of The Lion King. Disney had turned his sweeping ballad, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, into a joke sequence sung entirely by Timon and Pumbaa. Elton called it a disaster and threatened to walk away. He insisted the song had to be a sincere, emotional love theme, not comedy relief. Disney reluctantly agreed, restoring it to the Simba romance. That decision won Elton an Oscar. The hit song audiences swooned over? It almost didn't exist in the form we know. Not humor, but heartbreak carried the film. Number 18. The Wildebeest Stampede. Nearly broke Disney's computers. The stampede scene looks effortless on screen. In reality, it nearly destroyed Disney's animation pipeline. The studio had never attempted a sequence with hundreds of moving animals at once. Traditional hand-drawn animation couldn't handle the chaos, so Disney built a new computer program specifically for wildebeest motion. The early tests kept crashing, forcing animators to redo entire sequences overnight. Some staff later admitted they thought the movie would collapse if they couldn't make it work. What became the film's most heart-stopping sequence was nearly its downfall. Not an effortless masterpiece, but a technical gamble hanging by a thread. Number 17. Matthew Broderick. Thought he was voicing Hamlet. When Matthew Broderick signed on to voice adult Simba, he misunderstood the pitch. He believed Disney was doing an animated version of Shakespeare's Hamlet. To be fair, the parallels are striking. A murdered king, a usurping uncle, a ghostly vision, a son reclaiming the throne. Broderick actually recorded his lines imagining himself in a Shakespearean drama, not a Disney musical. The strange misunderstanding shaped his delivery, giving Simba a tone of melancholy weight audiences felt without knowing why. What was meant to be lighthearted came across with tragic gravitas. Not just a lion's tale, but a Shakespearean tragedy. Number 16. James Earl Jones and Jeremy Irons never recorded. Together you'd think Simba's regal father and his villainous uncle shared the recording booth. They didn't. James Earl Jones, Mufasa, and Jeremy Irons, Scar, recorded their lines on completely separate schedules, never once acting opposite each other in real time. Disney spliced their voices together in editing, creating the illusion of a tense family dynamic. The irony? Their chemistry feels electric, as if they were sparring face to face. What audiences didn't know was that two of the most iconic performances in animation history never overlapped. Not collaboration, but editing magic created that unforgettable tension. Number 15, Scar's song, Nearly Destroyed. Jeremy Irons' voice. Be Prepared is one of Disney's darkest villain songs, but recording it almost broke Jeremy Irons. When Irons hit the growling line, "You won't get a sniff without me," he pushed his voice so hard that he blew out his vocal cords. His throat gave out mid-session. Rather than scrap the song, Disney quietly brought in veteran voice actor Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh, to finish Scar's vocals. If you listen closely, part of the song shifts from Irons' aristocratic rasp to Cummings' mimicry. What fans think is pure Jeremy Irons is actually a hybrid, not just one sinister voice, but two stitched together. Number 14, The Hyena Lawsuit. Nobody saw coming. It wasn't only audiences who noticed the hyenas. When The Lion King premiered, a group of wildlife biologists publicly condemned the film, claiming it unfairly demonized hyenas. To make things stranger, one hyena researcher actually filed a lawsuit against Disney, arguing the film damaged the species' reputation. Though the case went nowhere, the controversy forced the studio to confront how its animal portrayals shaped real-world perceptions. What was meant as comic relief villains became a PR nightmare. Not harmless creatures, but maligned predators caught in Disney's shadow. Number 13, a hidden Nazi imagery scandal. Scar's Be Prepared wasn't just scary, it was controversial. Sharp-eyed critics noticed that the marching hyenas, shot in silhouette with banners, flapping behind them, directly mirrored Nazi propaganda films. The scene's visual language evoked Leni Riefenstahl's Triumph of the Will. Disney animators later admitted it was intentional, using fascist imagery to underscore Scar's tyranny. But when parents noticed, outrage erupted. Some accused Disney of smuggling Nazi imagery into a kids' movie. Not just a villain song, but a chilling political statement buried in animation. Number 12. Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella weren't cast as Timon and Pumbaa. It sounds unthinkable now, but Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella weren't hired to play Timon and Pumbaa. They originally auditioned as hyenas. Disney only considered them after hearing their banter in the waiting room, where they cracked jokes about farting and belching. The casting directors thought, "That's not Scar's army. That's a comedy duo." The switch turned them into icons. What was supposed to be throwaway villain roles became one of the greatest comic pairings in animation. Not background noise, but scene-stealing stars. Number 11. The Dust Cloud Controversy. That rocked Disney parents in the mid-1990s were furious about a single moment. In one scene, Simba collapses on a cliff, sending dust swirling into the night sky. Some claimed the particles spelled out sex. The rumor exploded, forcing Disney to issue a statement. Animators insisted it actually read SFX, a hidden signature from the special effects team. But the damage was done. Moral panic swept across parent groups, painting Disney as sneaky corruptors of youth. Whether mistake or mischief, the dust cloud became one of the most infamous subliminal message scandals in movie history. Not just stardust, but scandal written in the sky. Number 10. Simba almost had a completely different voice. Before Matthew Broderick was locked in as adult Simba, Disney considered several other actors, including Rob Lowe and even a young Charlie Sheen. The studio struggled to find a tone that balanced innocence with gravitas. Some early recordings reportedly made Simba sound either too cocky or too flat. It wasn't until Broderick came in, with that slightly wounded, melancholic delivery, that the character clicked. But here's where it gets wild. Some insiders say test reels of alternate Simbas still exist in Disney's vaults. Not one destined voice, but several failed princes before the rightful heir. And speaking of heirs, go ahead and like and subscribe, because what's coming next will change how you see The Lion King forever. Number 9. The Circle of Life. Opening nearly got cut. It feels impossible now, but the opening sunrise over the savanna, backed by Lebo M's thundering Zulu chant, was almost thrown out. Executives argued the wordless sequence was too slow, and wanted a traditional expositional introduction instead. The animators pushed back, saying the bold choice made the film feel mythic, like a story told for generations. After heated fights in screening rooms, the team prevailed. Ironically, that very sequence became the film's trailer, shocking audiences and securing early buzz. What executives saw as risky silence became Disney's loudest roar. Not filler, but a revolution in storytelling. Number 8. Rowan Atkinson resented. Zazu. Mr. Bean himself voiced Zazu, but Rowan Atkinson wasn't exactly thrilled. He admitted in interviews that he found voice acting frustrating because he couldn't rely on his physical comedy. Atkinson often arrived late, clashed with direction, and later said he never even saw the film in theaters. Fans embraced Zazu as uptight comic relief, but behind the mic, the performer felt disconnected. What audiences thought was effortless humor came from an actor who secretly wanted out. Not joy, but reluctant duty, fueled Zazu's voice. Number 7. The Lion King nearly got renamed. King of the Jungle. For years in development, The Lion King was actually called King of the Jungle. Storyboards, scripts, even promotional materials used the title. Only late in production did someone point out a glaring issue. Lions don't live in jungles. They inhabit grasslands and savannas. The studio scrambled to change the name, rebranding it just in time for release. The original title could have saddled the movie with ridicule, undermining its mythic aura. Not a king of the jungle, but a lion of the plains, saved by one last-minute correction. Number 6. The film was delayed by a devastating earthquake. Production wasn't only threatened by technical struggles, nature itself intervened. In 1994, the Northridge earthquake struck Los Angeles, collapsing freeways and damaging countless homes. Disney's animation studios weren't spared. Artists described scrambling out of shaking rooms, while some lost entire sequences of work when systems crashed. For weeks, schedules were thrown into chaos. Some animators worked out of temporary homes or late-night shifts just to catch up. What was supposed to be smooth production turned into survival. Not just artistic pressure, but literal disaster shaped the film's creation. Number 5. Disney. Accused of copying a Japanese classic. Not all of The Lion King's drama came from inside the studio. After its release, anime fans pointed out startling similarities to Simba the White Lion, a 1960s Japanese series by Osamu Tezuka. Both featured a lion cub whose father is killed, a villainous scar-faced lion, and a destiny-driven rise to kingship. The parallels were so uncanny that many accused Disney of plagiarism. Though the studio denied it, animators admitted they were aware of Simba. Critics argued the name Simba was more than coincidence. Not a pure original, but a contested heir with shadows from Japan lingering behind its crown. Number 4. Mufasa was never supposed to return as a ghost. That haunting cloud vision of Mufasa telling Simba to remember who you are, almost, didn't exist. In early drafts, Mufasa died and was gone forever, with no spiritual cameo. Test audiences found Simba's journey too bleak without his father's presence. So animators scrambled to craft a ghostly return, using innovative layering of clouds and James Earl Jones's booming re-recorded lines. What feels like the soul of the movie was, in fact, a last-minute rewrite. Not eternal guidance, but a desperate patch that became iconic. Number 3. Disney's animators fought over Scar's death. The climax of Scar's downfall sparked huge in-house arguments. Some artists wanted Simba to kill Scar outright, mirroring darker Shakespearean justice. Others insisted it would tarnish Simba's arc of responsibility and mercy. The compromise? Simba defeats Scar in combat, but spares him, only for the hyenas to finish the job. Even then, the animation was tweaked to emphasize the hyena's betrayal, not Simba's vengeance. What seems like natural storytelling was actually the product of ferocious studio battles. Not one vision, but fractured compromises forged in fire. Number 2. Real lions were brought into the studio. To nail the realism of lion movements, Disney animators didn't just study books, they brought actual lions onto the studio lot. Trainers walked them through, letting artists sketch their paws, muscles, and gaits up close. Some staff admitted it was terrifying. One wrong move, and the research could turn deadly. But those sessions gave the Lion King its authentic weight, every stretch and roar captured from living beasts. Not safe observation, but wild encounters brought the savanna to life in Burbank. Number 1. The script was rewritten. Dozens of times, mid-production. By the time the final cut was locked, The Lion King had been rewritten more than 30 times. Entire plot lines were abandoned, songs replaced, and characters rewritten. At one point, Scar was going to be a rogue lion with no blood relation to Mufasa or Simba. At another, Rafiki was written as a cheetah. These drastic pivots nearly derailed the project, but each rewrite brought the story closer to its mythic resonance. What audiences think of as seamless destiny was, in reality, the product of chaos, trial, and error. Not fate, but endless revision created the legend. Bonus fact: the movie nearly had no Hakuna Matata. Yes, the song that became a cultural anthem was almost scrapped. Originally, the filmmakers wrote a number about Pumbaa's struggles with flatulence, but executives panicked at the idea of a children's song about farting. Searching for a replacement, the team latched onto a Swahili phrase they'd heard: Hakuna Matata. The problem? No one knew how to write a song around it. Elton John even called it stupid at first. Yet after countless rewrites, it clicked. That stupid little filler became a worldwide philosophy. Not a sure thing, but a gamble that defined a generation. The Lion King wasn't born out of perfection. It was born out of chaos, missteps, lawsuits, earthquakes, near-broken voices, and rewrites stacked on rewrites. Yet somehow, those very cracks let the light in. The film roared across cultures, embedding itself in childhoods and shaping Disney's golden era. So next time you watch Simba climb Pride Rock, remember, behind the mythic circle of life was a production that nearly collapsed. If you loved uncovering these hidden truths, hit like and subscribe. Because in the world of movie history, there's always more than meets the eye. This was The Lion King, 1994. 20 weird facts you didn't know, and remember, Hakuna Matata.